guys like that.
You're right.
Well, 4 years later, Derek Carr is still here.
Still here.
You can make a case that Derek Carr is getting better, actually.
I think so. I mean, I think so.
Yeah.
The numbers, the
numbers are, you're putting,
don't lie, man.
Yeah, the Raiders are putting better players around him. Right. That's going to help him.
Yeah, that helps.
So he's 30 years old right now. Brad Johnson was 34 years old when he won a Super Bowl with John Gruden in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Rich Gannon was like 35, 36 when he had his best years with John Gruden. Derek Carr's only 30 years old.
Right.
So it could turn out, ironically enough, where John Gruden ends up with his savvy veteran quarterback, but it's just Derek Carr. Right. It ends up being Derek Carr, who throughout, during that, he was developed by John Gruden. Like the last 4 or 5 years was developed by John Gruden. So, if you look at it from that perspective, his best football, just like it was for Derek, a Brad Johnson, just like it was
Gannon.
for Gannon,
right.
His best football still could be
ahead of him. Yeah. I believe that too.
We're seeing
it takes time, man.
Yeah, it takes time. It takes building the right team.
Right. When Gruden got in, the team wasn't right. Like the contracts was bad.
It was bad.
He had to really, literally, like rebuild the whole team.
Right.
And put all his pieces that he felt should have been around.
Right. And sometimes that takes time.
Yeah, it does.
But that's why I think the Raiders felt we're going to give you this 10-year contract. Everyone gets hung up on that. Everyone gets hung up on the money. But I think and I know just talking to Raiders people, it was. For years, the Raiders had been trying to put Band-Aids on big open injuries. And sometimes that provides a little bit of relief.
Very short term.
But
in the long run.
And there they realized, we're going about this the wrong way. Here's 10 years. Obviously, we've shown a commitment in you. Yeah. We know that it's going to take some time. We're giving you the necessary time to get it right and to build prolonged success rather than fleeting success. It might not work. We still don't know.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it is, but I don't know. Like, I'm just being optimistic. But let me ask you something too, because you spend time with the OTAs. Like, what do you think the identity is of the offense on the offense side? Because most, all successful teams, they have their identity. We're a smash mouth football team. We run the ball down your throat. What do you think this year is for us?
I think
offensively.
I think offensively, this was a top 10 offense last year.
Yeah.
And you got to give John. I know John Gruden gets a lot of criticism, sometimes rightfully so. But his play calling, you think about, he didn't really have a premier wide receiver last year. Right.
Just a guy, right? That one guy.
Darren Waller was the best weapon that he had.
Right.
Josh Jacobs ran, averaged like 3.9 yards per carry. The offensive line was injured quite a bit.
Of course, at times because of COVID. Yeah. Sometimes a few were out, right? Because of COVID. And
injuries. Trent Brown only played 4 games.
Right.
Richie Incognito only played 2 games. I think they were ranked 17th pass blocking.
How did Cognito do in OTS?
He looked good.
He looked good. Okay.
So what I'm saying is, even without a big time wide receiver, even with a offensive line that was injured a lot and mixed matching players, ranked 21st in pass or in run blocking, 17th in pass blocking. It was okay. It wasn't great. Even with all of that, they still scored the 10th most points in the NFL.
Which is
to me, you got to give John Gruden some credit for that.
Yeah, it's a play calling.
But I think, talking to him, talking to Raiders people, they want to get better in situational football. They got to the red zone quite a bit last year. Okay. They improved their overall efficiency
in the red zone.
From 2019. That's why they averaged 7 more points a game than they did 2020 compared to 2019. The problem is they sometimes they had to settle for field goals rather than touchdowns. Their touchdown,
and especially against a team like KC,
you can't be doing that. So they were like 54% in scoring touchdowns in the red zone. That was 23rd in the NFL.
Oh, okay.
They need to get better.
And what do you think that is? Like, you think maybe got to get better at the run game? What do you think?
I think definitely being able to, especially that nose to nose, short yardage situation where we got to have it.
I know. Yeah. And you stop me, right?
Right, exactly. And I think the offensive line injury, especially Incognito, hurt in that regard. He brings kind of a nastiness.
Yeah. He brings it. Yeah,
he's a lead guy in your run game. I think Alec Ingold, their fullback, got hurt toward the end of the year.
Oh, he's big too,
Yeah.
right? You know,
In terms
speaking
of
of
the
that
blocking.
guy, you know, in terms of blocking, in terms of leadership,
Yeah.
right? That guy brings a lot to the offense. I know that.
And so I think that bringing in Kenyon Drake, I think helps in the red zone.
right.
He's a more versatile type
Right.
of.
Switches it up a little
He
bit.
could be a wide receiver,
Right.
run the ball.
Like
it was
little
fu-
play action down in the red zone with him would be great. You
Yeah,
know, I mean, think
putting
about
him in
that.
motion.
Put him right.
It was funny during OTAs. There was a 15-minute period. It was a red zone period, and the whole time, the entire time, the Raiders were in 23 personnel, 2 running backs, 3
Right.
tight ends.
Right.
Okay,
Whew.
right?
I like that.
Yeah, right?
No,
Exactly.
I like those kind of formations.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
I sat there and watched it for the entire 15 minutes. I lost count on how many guys touched it as a runner or caught the ball, and how they lined up.
Right.
So they went power, they went bunch, you know, for like, we're going to just run it down your throat.
Yeah.
They spread it out.
Right. Wide open. I bet
yeah.
they faked the run. And
They did all kinds of things. So it was like
Damn,
there was
I
a
like
lot
that.
of
I like
creativity out of
Yeah.
just that one
That
personnel
one-
grouping.
yeah.
And I think that's kind of like what they're so there's been a point of emphasis.
Right.
Got to score more touchdowns in the red zone. Foster Moreau, their Raiders tight end, told me, I had him on our radio show, and he was like, "Look, we love our kicker. We love Daniel Carlson, man. We love Daniel Carlson.
Yeah.
Just stay over there on the sidelines."
Yeah.
We kick the one
just like,
pointers.
no, we have
we
you.
want you
Just like,
to
no, we have
come in for that PAT.
Right.
You know, we don't want you kicking
Yeah,
field
once
goals.
you
No
kick it
disrespect.
For 1 point, not 3.
Exactly. So he's like, we love Daniel. That's what he said. But hey, man, need you over on the
Oh, you're
sidelines.
right, man. And running the ball is important. You know,
Huge.
if you can't run the ball, man, it's tough to score,
Yeah.
especially in the red zone because the field gets condensed. You know,
Right.
I always tell people, I said, now all your passing routes, you know, it's more. It's condensed. You know,
Yeah.
you can't run deeper. You know, everything's smaller. So
Right.
if you can't run the ball in that area, you're not going to be very successful.
And that's where also your wide receivers blocking
yeah.
becomes big.
Important, right.
too. They brought in Willie Snead, who kind of a hard-nosed slot wide receiver, came from Baltimore. He has
Wow.
that kind of
I remember.
Raven way about him.
Right.
I think he can help.
So Ruggs is going to be basically our number one this year, you'd say, because you know how you just mentioned that we didn't really have that number one wide receiver. So
I don't know.
How did he look in OTs? He looked like
He looked
good.
bigger and stronger.
Yeah.
He looked more explosive. You know, he had 43 targets last year.
Right.
To me, that's got to be 80-ish, 90-ish.
At least, yeah, got to be doubled. Yeah.
And if so, then then obviously the numbers are going to go up. So, but it's on him, especially early on, and to in his defense.
Right.
He got hurt the first game of the
I
year
was gonna
last
say
year.
that. Yeah, I was gonna
and
say
when
that.
you're a rookie.
Yeah. You need all the time you can get.
Yeah, and
to get better.
you know how it works. You get hurt as a rookie. That train doesn't slow down for you.
No.
It doesn't stop. It just
Yeah.
keeps chugging down the railway. And when you get right, now it's
Yeah.
you have to come catch up to it.
No,
It's not going to stop and hey, come on,
Yeah.
come
Let him catch up.
You gotta hustle up to
Right.
catch back up. And I think that when he got back last year, it was a leg injury. It took a
It
little
was
while.
tough, right? It was
Same
tough.
with Brian Edwards, their other rookie wide receiver. It's just
Right,
kind of how
right.
it goes. And so if he can,
How's he looking?
he looks good too.
Yeah.
He's big and strong. I think that he finished the season fairly strong. He can be a red zone. He's a 6'3".
Oh yeah, he's a big guy.
Big old
a big
dude.
target.
So I think Foster Moreau. This guy has 7 touchdowns
Tight end, right?
in 20-something catches.
Man, I
That's
like
a pretty
that,
good
like
ratio.
You said, 23 personnel.
Yeah,
I could imagine. What about the defense? Like, let's flip over to that side. Like, what do you think their identity is? Because it's important. Like when you start the season, what's our identity, guys? What do you think?
I think ideally they want to be fast. They want to force turnovers. They want to be efficient.
Who did it look like the starting front would be? I know it's hard, but like, what do you think based on what you saw?
I would say base defense.
And who do you? Who would
I
you
would say
would be
Unique
the starting
Ngakwe.
Oh yeah, that's
Jonathan Hankins as a defensive tackle, maybe Solomon Thomas or Quentin Jefferson as the other defensive tackle, and Cleve Farrell as the defensive end. But I think it's going to be, if you look at Gus Bradley's defenses, he
What about the
mixes it up.
backers? The linebackers.
Linebackers are going to be Nick Kwiatkowski, Corey Littleton, and Nicholas Morrow. But I think, if you're talking about identity, I think first and foremost what the Raiders have to build, their foundation has to be playing sound, efficient football. They had 14 and a half sacks from their defensive line.
All right. That's not
21 total. That's not good at all.
yeah.
They were third worst in getting teams off the field on third down.
And that, yeah.
They were third worst in forcing turnovers.
How are they on, because on defense, right? You got to win on first down, right? You know what I mean?
But that's the thing. They would.
Yeah?
They got themselves into some pretty good situations on third down.
Yeah.
But
couldn't close the deal.
They couldn't close the deal. And to me, watching, from up in the press box, I saw a lot of confusion on third downs. Like when this, with football being in your background, those are the times when you have to be the most connected as a defense.
Yeah.
That's when you have to be able to trust your teammate, know what you're doing, know what they're doing. Everyone be on the same page in key situations like that.
Right.
But unfortunately for the Raiders, that was usually when they were at their worst in terms of all of the things that we were just talking about. And that's why 3rd and 17, 20-yard gain, back-breaking type plays.
In fact, you know what? I did see a few of those, and I was like, what?
Too many.
Yeah, 20 yards, man.
Yeah, and it's like, how does that happen? And you got, you got guys getting up, looking around, going, where were you? You could see it. You can sense that they're not, whether it was the coaching, whether it was the message